be released within 48 hours. Entertain a motion to open.
I'll make a motion to open session.
Reopen.
I'll second it.
And Terry?
Yes.
Joyce?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Okay. All right, budget discussion and questions. In front of you is what in code says is the fund balances for our accounting system, for each fund. So a couple of items in this fund balance report I just want to point out. It's not perfect, there is some issues with it. For instance, under the ARPA grant fund, number 260, that $184,000 was transferred to water back a few months ago, last year sometime. So it can't be in water and here at the same time. So that's gonna have to get zeroed out. We have several fund balances that have negative numbers. 2006 sewer bond, 2009 water bond, and 2020 sewer bond, as well as the Washington Spring Bond Fund, all show a negative number. And what that means is, we've been paying our bonds out of these funds, but we haven't been transferring money into the fund, because there's no income, that those don't generate any money themselves, those are just expense funds. But we have to transfer money from time to time, which we used to do it monthly for water and monthly for sewer. We transfer it over to those bond funds so that the money would be there when we paid the bonds. So now we're gonna have to do that. We're gonna have to zero out all those negatives. So those will need to be done. Now, what I'm asking is that we pass our budget tonight, and we will work on getting these fixed. And that way, at least we're passed. It's not perfect, and we can do the work. And then in May, we will amend the budget. Does anybody have any questions about that? And then there's this humongous amount of money in the water fund, which is $4,675,000. That's a lot of money. And if that's a true number, that's great, because I mean, you guys can do a lot of water repairs with that money. But part of it's gonna come down for the water bond payment, which is the 320, and that's at negative 838,000. So that's gonna have to be used to zero that out.
So the Washington Spring Street?
No, that's gonna have to come from transportation and capital improvement taxes.
So even though part of that was water.
Part of it was
sewer-
water, but when I left, when we approved bonds, we were approving them based on the capital improvement, the transportation tax, and the money that we got from the county to build that fund up, so we would always have the money in there to make our bond payment, which is about $200,000 a year.
I
So,
didn't know.
yeah, so once we get it zeroed out, then we can start keeping the money in those two other funds and transfer a little bit at a time. Any questions about that?
So Kim, work outside of is it the transportation tax or that $450,000 that we're supposed to be getting?
We're actually getting 493, I think. Did you send that to Bob? Did he say anything? We'll have to check our bank statement and our bank account, make sure we just didn't get it, they didn't say it.
That will go into street fund?
210. Transportation Asset Tax Fund, that's where we were putting it, and that's where it is. If you look at the budget pages that you all have been doing under, in the back here, it's under on page 3. You've got transportation tax, half cent, and Cloud County road sales tax, 400,000. Page 3 of this. And what we've seen is 493 is what they say is minimum. Sorry.
I'm sorry, which?
410, or 210, 41240.
Okay, that's what
Yeah.
Counselor.
Yeah. Any questions about that?
I have
Yes,
a
go ahead.
question, Kim.
Mhm.
You had mentioned the water district, the water fund account.
Yeah, okay.
4.6 million. What was it showing before?
What do you mean, before?
Yeah.
I don't know, because, I haven't seen this report until like a week ago.
Are you talking about the fund balance report?
Mhm.
We haven't had a fund balance report in the past
I don't know if you
3
just know
years.
how to print
This
it.
is a new report that proceeding for the first time. And that's what we've done.
But the beginning balance as of 1/1/2024 was 4.365 million. So
And we didn't know that before?
since the, yeah.
Apparently, I mean, you know, we've talked about this and it's on the agenda for the very last item, Jerry.
Yeah.
So you can roll your eyes, but in code
I
training.
understand that. I understand that. I just, that dollar amount and not know it until now.
Well, let's put it this way. Your treasurer had a report every month. The month that really, I haven't seen any, if anybody has it, 12/31/2024 ending, which would have been at the January meeting, Ed was sick.
Yeah.
And the minutes say that he left his report here for everybody to see, but I don't know where it is. I have not seen it. Because he was reporting how much money was in our checking account, our money market account, and the 3 CDs that we have. And that number has to match this number down here,
Right, I understand that.
this total of the
Yeah.
funds. And so until we recreate that, which we're just gonna have to look at the bank statements
Right.
and add them up ourselves, and we know that there's $400,000 CDs that would go, plus that.
Okay.
And hopefully it's close to 4,222,000.
Okay.
Right now, we know that Ed had, did a report for end of March, and we had 3,994,000. So it's probably pretty close.
Okay. I just,
That didn't show in this report.
What?
That 400-some thousand that you're talking about. It's been showing, I wish I had brought my past budget reports. But yeah, that figure's been showing up here.
Which figure?
400 and whatever you said,
493,000? We have about that many.
it's been, well, not that, but
We
in the
budget.
water fund here, in the revenue, it's been showing us right here, fund 510, water fund. Under revenue, it's been showing us every time we have looked at these budget reports, it's been showing the number, these numbers right here.
So you're talking about 510, 44200? Yeah. Those numbers? I've never seen a $4 million.
this is what I'm talking about right here. So, and I'm just astonished. I'm not, you know, you guys, you're the CPA, you guys know the budget, you've worked it. I just, if that's, if you guys are comfortable with that, if that's what it is, I'm glad that it's there.
I think it's pretty close.
Okay.
Yeah, because nothing has come out of it to pay these bonds.
Okay. Nice.
But we're gonna get to the bottom of it. There's
Okay.
a couple of other things that, were not, amounts were not put in under, the water bond, payment of for 2009 water bonds, 32070 76120 is page 5. We failed to put any numbers in there. And the next one down, the sewer bond, interest and principal, we didn't put anything in there. So those, we know what we need to pay, because Ed left it very handily on his March report, how much each of those are. So we're gonna put those in the budget, and we'll make that amendment in May. We will also have a statement for our budget that tells, you know, what these numbers mean and what we can do, and what we are gonna do, like, the list of Stevens projects, any projects that Eric may have, we'll put that in our narrative about the budget, which is required by the state statute. Any other questions?
We just say I'm glad we're getting on track.
Yeah, it's time to move on and get these, fixed. One more thing I wanna mention. there were a lot of funds in there in the computer that they're just kind of dormant because, there's no activity. But one is the Water District 3, R&R fund, and the Water District 3 Tower Fund. And I'm gonna look back in the minutes, but I think that was something, when they disagreed with the rate increase, we agreed to set aside money. This was several years ago. When they made their payment, we took part of their payment and put it in these two funds. I don't know when it stopped. All I know is it's got $105,000 and some change. And then there's a Water District 7 R&R fund, which has $59,000 in it. There's a flood recovery fund, which was from the last flood, which was like 2017, I think? Is that about right? I don't think we had one after that we got FEMA money for. So that's $36,509. And then the Old Preserves America Fund, which has been there since 2004, like 1,142. So we're gonna have to do something with those, and we can, of course, the water may stay. I'm gonna look at the minutes and see what we had done with that, with the water districts. Any questions from you guys or anything? All your numbers stay the same. Now, passing this budget does not mean anybody's getting a raise yet. We're gonna look at raises, to see where we're at with the numbers in here. And, just got at what everybody's making right now. But we will, if we do a raise, and the board wants a raise for everybody, then it'll be done by a resolution, a pay resolution. That's how it's supposed to be passed. You guys have any questions on that? Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
There's one item here.
Yes.
The water.
What page on that? It's really hard to see the bottom. The lighting there is terrible.
Page 6.
What?
Page 6.
Page 6.
Go down to supply testing. 63035. Anyway, it says 750. That should be 7,500.
Testing supplies,
Yes.
7,500.
There's a zero missing there. It should be 7,500.
And you're sure on
Yes.
that? Let me look at it. I've got like all the ones that I've been to a lot of the budget meetings.
He just told me today.
Oh, we did, okay, yeah. Seven, five. Is what it should be.
Yes.
Yeah, I have that note as well, 7,500. And the natural gas is actually supposed to be 2,000, not 1,800. That, well, I wrote it in red during the meeting, so, I'm sure. Just kidding. So definitely 7,500 on that. Okay, so know that this is the beginning. May, we'll have some more changes and we'll make some amendments. And then that gives you guys more time to look at it. It's Lily, more time to look at it, and we may have some more changes.
Okay.
So we'll pass. The next item is a budget resolution. It's a budget resolution approving the budget as attached. So attached to the resolution will be our full budget.
Budget resolution does have typos.
Okay.
15 is,
Oh, yeah. Bottom.
where it says January 1st, 2016.
This will be beginning fiscal year January 1, 2025, not 2013.
Oh, okay.
Yes. In the right middle. I know, we got the top.
I know.
So we're passing the budget resolution 2025-001 with one change to the 2025 date on a now and therefore be resolved.
I'll make a motion to pass budget resolution number 2025-001 with the one correction to the date and year.
Okay? Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? 4-0, thank you. before it goes to the Board of Aldermen. The mayor has that authority in the business license ordinance. But once they have all their paperwork, he cannot do a phone vote and try to pass it unless he has posted on a meeting, that there's a meeting of a phone vote. And you wait 24 hours after you post that and then vote by phone. But I don't recommend it. It has to come from the board at a meeting.
There wasn't a phone.
Okay, there we go. I thought somebody said that he had called.
Not that I know of.
Okay, so I'd like to pass the business license completely for Link Fitness.
Yeah. Motion to approve, the business license for Link Fitness, as presented.
I'll second.
Wait a second, all in favor? All 4-0. So that takes care of that, and, next item was the scope of work for Fiddler's Ridge retention. We can't, unfortunately, we can't copy, because copy machines
Can
break.
we go back to the Link Fitness just for one
Oh,
second?
sure.
Just one comment. Is everybody okay if I were to share the highway signage regulations, just trying to be proactive with them? Because right now I think they just have vinyl, like banner
Yeah.
signs that are temporary,
Right.
it says Link Fitness now open.
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point those will become, I just don't want him to like go invest $10,000 in some sort of a crazy sign, if it doesn't meet our standards.
Right, there
So-
is a sign ordinance, and that sign would actually be approved by Eric Mosier.
Yeah.
That superintendent of public works would approve that sign.
That sounds good. I think it'd be great to, I mean, just like, you know, business permit, they opened before this was official, I'm just afraid. Steve to go get her, I'm afraid he might not
Okay.
have plans for a sign before.
I can just mention to him that if he, needs a sign, permanent sign, I think there's one out there, but it may be for the road business building that says it's being financed by somebody, which would be a temporary sign as well.
Right,
But I think both of them look
but
good.
just to be proactive, yeah, it does look good.
All right, scope of work.
Okay. Scope of work, yeah, I apologize, the copier's not working, I had intended to make other copies and hand it out, so I just have one here.
Okay.
Yeah. And Eric does have a version, I texted this to you, Eric, I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I did see it.
I'm just kidding.
This is just a draft, but Eric was up there last week, right after our meeting, and he was shooting elevations just to try to guess how much, dirt we wanna excavate out of there, and how we talked about the idea of doing some check dams, so instead of everything just like instantly collecting at the bottom, there maybe be a check dam or two, because it's a pretty big field, right? So it would slow the water down, which I think is just all good ideas as far as the solution to this, but it's about 0.4 acres of an area, and again, this is just draft, but 0.4 acres that we would excavate, I'm saying on average 8 inches, obviously towards the north end, I think we're gonna have to excavate maybe a couple of feet, to get it down below that culvert that's coming in from the east. But by the time it gets down to the actual existing dam, we might not have to excavate anything. And that's based off of maybe putting in a new pipe that's a little bit higher. And so anyways, I think this is a close version. My suggestion would be, if Eric, I only emailed it to him this afternoon, but if he were allowed to make edits or changes to it, then we could
Okay,
potentially put it out to bid.
okay, so we can look at it again in May, maybe?
Yeah.
And I wanna make sure you share that with Chuck, to make sure Chuck understands what we're doing, because we don't wanna affect his property.
Well, did you see page, yes, I'm sorry, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Did you see page 2, Kim? So
I looked at it, but,
Okay.
I'm not really good at that kind of thing.
there's a page 2 on it, so the first page is just like the scope of work for redoing the retention pond, right? The page 2 proposal is how we could potentially, in conjunction with this project, negotiate a boundary line alteration with Chuck in exchange for a restricted access easement across his property to get up there. And so, and again, that also is just we've been talking about it, so I don't feel like I went out of my lane by proposing this, but this is a visual to get, hopefully get the conversation centered and figure out if it's something we want to do. What I've shown on the proposal there, you know, the easements in exchange for a boundary line alteration there. It would give Chuck, just so you know, their desire is to potentially have another buildable lot on the west end of their lot. C2 zoning is 50-foot setback on the front, 20-foot setback on the back, and then the side setbacks, actually, there's variables there if it's adjacent to residential, which this one is, but the side setback's not a concern. But I wanted to make sure if we altered that back property line, that he would have the ability to put the building that I'm showing there, just as an example. I have no idea, Chuck, what your intentions are for potential building there.
But he would be able to do it.
But you would be able to do it. Like I took the footprint of your existing building, your west building, I took the footprint of that and plopped it over on the west side there. And that same size building would be doable as far as meeting the setbacks and stuff like that, if we altered the property line as shown there. So, I think the good news there is it's another potential commercial lot. I know last meeting you had concerned if we were to take that lot for easement, that'd be one less residential lot to build on, which I agree that's a concern. We are swapping it maybe for a pocket park potentially. But then like we're exchanging maybe a buildable residential lot for creating a brand new commercial lot that has potential to bring in more revenue than a residential lot. So in my mind, it's a decent plan if we decided to move forward. Obviously, we're still waiting on appraisal for what
That one lot, we're not sure.
the lot would cost, and that's going to be a deciding factor
Right.
if we want to spend that type of money to actually to do this or not. But
Okay, so if you could email everybody
Yes.
those plans, and I'm sure Beth will want one, and then we want to make sure you get a hard copy to Chuck,
yeah.
unless you want an email.
I don't know how to do email.
We'll get you a hard
I'll
copy.
print you out our.
And if you have a question, ask Greg, and he should be able to,
I've got a
explain it to
question.
you. Go ahead.
On the new dam proposals, it's currently one dam, right?
Yes, at the bottom.
At
Yeah.
the bottom?
Just on the boundary line between our property and Chuck's property.
Okay. All right, so there's gonna be 3 now with this new proposal?
Well, only 2, like, you mean as far as kind of berms? Like
Yeah.
The check dam concept?
Yeah.
So
So where's it currently at?
the current one is right here on the property, exactly on the property.
Right,
So that's where the current one is.
okay.
Well, actually, I think it is just shaded towards it's on our property, the city's property. But
Okay.
it just goes, from west to east,
Okay.
horizontally at the very bottom of this acreage here.
Okay.
So this would, and here it is again on this drawing.
Yeah.
You can kind of actually see
Yeah.
where the grass is a little bit lighter there.
Yep.
Because there's kind of a gravel in the road on top of it there.
Okay.
So this would create further up, create a check dam. They would, excavate the dirt from here, put,
Yeah.
from the top half of the excavation, they can push it up here, from the bottom half of the excavation, they can push
Okay,
it.
so it'd be here and
Reach
here.
it, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah, so it doesn't, we don't have to haul, I mean, it gets expensive if you start hauling dirt off site because you're paying for dump trucks.
So this would just redistribute it?
This would just be a balance site, they would just push the dirt that's on site to create these check dams.
Be sure to give one to Gina too, in case somebody comes in and wants to see.
Yeah, I'll email it out, yeah. I apologize. When I came down, I intended to make a dozen copies and hand them out.
Right. Okay, is there any other questions about them? Go ahead.
When we get to the emergency access road, my concern is that if we have either this gravel road that the residents or somewhere else start using it, could we, like, put a gate or something?
Well, I think we're a little bit away from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we can those gates that have kind of the Kent's like almost together, but they can walk through, but somebody can't drive through there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want us to keep that,
Sure.
that, make sure people aren't just gonna use it for their own.
Right. I think that, yeah, that would be appropriate. payroll. I spent several days with the girls on and off down here last week after the meeting, and, we have to have training on income. This is a must. They cannot keep, I have personally seen Dina stay on the phone, you have to call them for a question, and then you have to stay on the phone with them while they are helping you, and it's a long, arduous process, and it's ridiculous. We need training, and, I know Allison, Roberts had called them, and they had quoted her a price of 15, we would want to confirm that. But we want somebody in this building to train our personnel on how to use income. And it is ridiculous to do payroll in QuickBooks and then try to get the checks over to Income. Because you're printing checks over here in one software, and they're not in this software, which is your main accounting program. It's crazy. They need to be in the same program. That's one of the reasons why they can't, do some of their check reconciliations, is because all the checks for payroll are over here. They're not in income, so they have to get added. And it's just, there's such a big chance for mistakes. So we have to bully it up. We're gonna use income, which is our recommendation, that's Tammy and Jamie's recommendation. And I believe yours too, right? We talked about it Saturday when we met. We wanna stay within code, we have to pony up for payroll and training, which is gonna be about a $30,000 hit. It's not in our budget, we're gonna have to put it in there and move on with this. There's no going back. We can't go back to QuickBooks because we have to enter the last 4 years worth of checks. Nobody has time for that. So I wanna put that on the plate, because then, I just wanna say, if you wanna make a motion now, we can move towards that and put it in the budget for our amendments.
I wanna make that motion, because we need to move forward with the system that we have in place. So I'm gonna make a motion that we, add in the budget of $30,000.
Approximately, less than 35, I don't know.
Okay, approximately $35,000 for the code training and payroll system.
Okay, so the motion is to amend the budget to include in-code payroll and in-code training at approximate cost of $35,000. Hopefully, helping themselves.
I'll second.
Thanks, Joyce. All in favor? All four. That's it. We will work towards that, and that will be one of our budget. Anything else? Okay, did you have anything, Lily? Lily and I met, just so you know, talked on Saturday,
Yeah.
and she's got, a list of things that I wanna see, her do, and, hopefully we'll get better reports, and, a good idea of what our monthly, income is, and expenses are, that we can see every month.
Swear, right?
We'll have to do it in May, yeah, I completely forgot, yeah. All right, and I'll accept a motion to adjourn. Gonna make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? John is a second. Anything else? All right,